So good morning. Welcome to Unity of Chautauqua. And this is not our final Sunday, but the one before our last Sunday before we move back to totally online. So I am so glad all of you are here. And I am Reverend Barbara Williams, and I'm welcoming all those that are joining us online as well, that are on Zoom. And there are going to be a lot of people actually that watch us later. So you're invited to do that too. So let's begin with our welcome song. If you would join in as Janine leads us.
We come together in this moment. We bind our hearts and minds, for we all form a tapestry woven from one life, one creation, undivided, all unique expressions of God. We come together now in one accord. Please join me second time around. We come together in this moment. We bind our hearts and minds, for we all form a tapestry woven from one life, one creation, undivided, all unique expressions of God. We come together now in one accord.
So good morning again, and let's begin with prayer. And so we just settle into this time, honoring that we have hollowed out a space in our lives to listen deeply, open mind, open heart, and a deep breath in this moment in great gratitude for our coming together. And together we hold this consciousness of that great presence that moves in and through all of us and humanity as we pray. Oh, great love. Thank you for living and loving in us and through us. May all that we do flow from our deep connection from you and with you and all beings. Listen to our heart's longings for the healing of our world as we open to the infinite field of compassion, wisdom, justice, peace, and radiant well-being that is always available. From this place of consciousness, we choose to live and love in your flow. And we offer our prayers in all the holy names of God. Amen. And so just a few announcements. This is kind of ending our season. We have 10 Sundays. This is Sunday 9. And I'm starting to miss it already. It's like I want this to last. And so the way I've been walking through Chautauqua and looking at people and just saying, just keep this with me at a really deep level. However, after next Sunday, we are doing something special, and that is we move to Zoom and online, and we'll have videos of what we do once a month, the first Sunday of every month, year round, till we walk back here and celebrate together. So I hope you'll join us. And how do you do that? Well, the way to remember it is that Unity has a website called unity.org. Pretty easy. And if you're looking for a Unity church around you, several people have asked me this morning, where do I find a Unity church? Go there and it'll have a place you can do that. Now, if you look and say, I want to be at Chautauqua next year, you go to chq.org and plan. They've already got 2022 planned. It's very exciting, and we'll be back for another 10 Sundays. But if you want to go to ours and continue to connect with us, and I hope you will through this year, through what we call the off season, but it's an on season for us, you go to unitychq.org, a combination of both of those websites. So we look forward to connecting with you over the break. And what I'd like to do this morning is I have a very, very special guest. We have one, and this is the Reverend Dr. Martha Creek. I want to tell you a little, and I had to bring her up on my phone. She has accomplished so much. It's like, I can't remember it all, Martha. And I'm going to bring her up in a moment. But I have heard her praises sung by so many people. So many people have said, you've got to meet Martha, you've got to meet Martha. And this is her first visit to Chautauqua, but she has well known around Unity because she works for healthy congregations. So she has a background, but she also does something that I have probably a practice that has been life-changing for me, and that is Byron Katie's work and the book, Loving What Is. So in fact, I bragged about you this week during meditation when I was leading meditations, and several of the people went and got that book. So she comes outside of Nashville, Tennessee, and not only is she going to bless us this morning, but she's going to bless us on Wednesday evening. And we have something called a positive path for spiritual living. That is this year on Zoom only. Usually it'd be in person, but just this year. But again, it's going to be recorded. So you'll get to see it, go to our website and see it after the fact. So I would like to invite Martha up here for a second, just not only to greet her, but for her to say a few words about Wednesday evening.
It's really, I think, a second part of this. Today's topic is growth-mindedness versus fixed-mindedness, and the psychology of the success of growth-mindedness, and then hopefully some encouragement to move out of our fixed-minded tendencies. Wednesday specifically looks at some superpowers for doing that, which are resiliency. And I cannot teach any of you a thing about resiliency because you wouldn't be here today without it. And grit, resiliency, grit, enfolded in faith. And a faith in things that are not seen, a faith in things that people don't even believe are possible, but a few of us believe are possible, and that we're willing to test it to see what is possible instead of accepting what we've been handed down as possible or impossible. So I think it'll be inspirational, a little wind under our skirt, so to speak, to lift us up again. And you're always welcome. And to contact me is marthacreek.com. And there's all sorts of videos and recordings and that are all free there, that if this message is resonant with you, you're welcome to watch it there as well.
So I am so excited about this, Martha. Like I said, so many people in so many churches, you've been a healing presence in so much of Unity, and I just want to honor that you're here. And so Janine now is going to lead us into this Sunday's message from Martha.
Bring it on, everything new, everything different, everything true. I am ready for my next thing to do. Oh, I know it's gonna be everything new. I'm through crying, I'm through waiting, I'm through hoping against all hope. I'm through longing for something gone that'll never return. I think I finally learned to bring it on. Everything new, everything different, everything true. I am ready for my next thing to do. Oh, I know it's gonna be everything new. I'm through grieving, I'm through dreaming that the life I had is ever coming back. No more wishing on someone else's star that'll never be mine. I think it's time to bring it on. Everything new, everything different, everything true. I am ready for my next thing to do. Oh, I know it's gonna be everything new. And I've survived many times before, broken hearted and slamming the door. I'll be alright, yes I will, once more, just as I did back then. I'm gonna rise again, so bring it on. Everything new, everything different, everything true. I am ready for my next thing to do. Oh, I know it's gonna be everything new. Bring it on. Everything new, everything different, everything true. I am ready for my next thing to do. Oh, I know it's gonna be everything new. And just in case you haven't sung yet, you have one more chance to do this with me. I think you know the words now. Ready? Bring it on. Everything new, everything different, everything true. I am ready for my next thing to do. Oh, I know it's gonna be everything new.
All right, do you really mean it? After this year, most of us are going, woo, maybe not. Like, can I get a menu list? Can I get a little selection list? I like to choose how much new I want and how much I want brought on. So this is pertinent though to this mindset today. We're talking about a growth mindset versus a fixed mindset. And this was best described by a 7th grader. And I was speaking to her and she said, oh, you mean like I have the courage to raise my hand when I have a question? Because I believe it's okay if I don't have the answer, because I'll get the correct answer. I'll learn something by raising my hand. Versus I won't raise my hand because I'm afraid I have the wrong answer, or because I'm afraid I'll be judged for not having the right answer. So it's the difference then of saying, I don't know everything. You want to try repeating that? I don't know everything. I actually don't know everything. So there's something to be used. You wouldn't be here at Chautauqua if you didn't have a growth mindset, because it's the nature of the whole institute and what it's set up for, what we're here today to in this week and all the summers to say, what potential do I have that's not been brought forth here? And the difference of the psychology of this includes that successful people, the people with most success, are growth minded. It would make perfect sense that that has to be the case, because they keep testing limits and keep pushing limits to say, I don't know if I can do that, but I'm going to test it to see. I don't know yet if I'm going to be great at that. And will we be great at everything? No. I tried to learn Spanish 3 times. I have a fairly high intelligence. I was high in school and great 4.0 grade point averages and things like that. And I could not learn Spanish from 3 different sources on 3 different attempts. So Taco Bell, quesadilla, fajita. And somebody will help me. That's all I know. And I've been able to manage without it. So I don't know what's possible. It's not time for me to learn it, or it's coming to be learned, or it's not in this lifetime for me to know this. But it's like, then test it to see what's possible. Then this, I don't have to worry about failing. I don't have to worry about it. It's like, I don't know yet what my potential is. So these are mindsets that shape our lives. These mindset makes all the difference in how we experience life, how we're going to be in relationships, how we're going to be in jobs, how we're going to be with a family, and coming across as, listen to me, I'm your mother. Listen to me because I know everything, which doesn't go over all that well. Have you noticed? Like, any of you have children? Like, oh, okay. And then there's this little rebel thread that runs through some of us. Even the growth-minded rebel against some of the fixed-mindedness and some of the old archaic patterns that's been put down. So this rebellion can even take over, like, I'm going to be more daring. So this is not about daring life or daring physicality that goes, oh, growth-mindedness would be like, let me jump off a building and see if gravity works. And it's like, no, don't test that. Like, that's not what this is about. But to say, what can I test? What can I test in my own life that would lean me away from, I know. So what else is possible? So I may not can do that much, but what if I could do that much? Then to let this much be plenty, like this much be okay. So I may never get to here, but I can get to here. And I'll never know that I can get to there if I don't muster a little courage, which is what this resiliency and grit and faith about, particularly on Wednesday, is about. And one of you told me you're into deep consciousness work before we started here. Me too. And Dr. David Hawkins, you remember him? And his power versus force, and the path of surrender, of letting go certain things. And this courage is very high up on a map of consciousness. And in any state of consciousness we're in, depression, despair, anger, apathy, shame, guilt, these lower tendencies of our more primal, low brain, reptilian brain, can be transcended any time and in any way that we access courage. Anytime we can just muster one small dose of courage. And you've all had some experience in your life where you were courageous because something took over. You made a courageous act, a courageous move. For women, sometimes it's because we've had enough of something. Like, didn't make any sense, I was just done. So whatever it takes to say, that's what it took for me to bring on some courage. And likely in those times, we may not have even called it courage. We would have even said, I did it because I was so afraid. But even in the fear, something came through that caused us to take a very courageous step, a very, very courageous act. So I think it's important for me. I've been called Pollyanna most of my life. If any of you get to bear that cross, yeah, we got some finger pointing in the audience. You're welcome. So it is Pollyannish, and not in a way though, that fuels behavior that is not sane and sensible. So not, I'm going to go do that and lose my sensibility, or I'm not going to go try that without sanity and sensibility intact. So Pollyanna-ish for sure, like, I don't know, let's try it, maybe, come on, who'll join me? But not like, let's go test the gravity, nothing like that. Or this, everything's possible. It's like, well, falling off the roof and falling rapidly to the ground is also possible. So not that Pollyanna-ish, but to lean toward curiosity. Maybe, what could be possible? What are we willing to try? And this inquiry, which Reverend Barbara spoke about, which has been one of my practices for many years, the work of Byron Katie. And I don't love what is, so I'll just make that clear right now. I seldom even like what is sometimes. However, that's the title of the book. However, the subtitle of the book is 4 Questions to Change Your Life. And it's considered cognitive behavioral therapy in a mental health field, because it asks us to question what we believe. It asks us to question what we believe to see, is it actually true? And then what are the consequences of me believing it? What's the consequences of me staying stuck in that? And what would be the potential? What's the possibility? Who would I be if I simply didn't believe that anymore? So this speaks to this kind of growth mindedness. Now, the more invested we get in keeping our story, the more invested we get in these old archaic belief systems, which I call BS belief systems, then the more deeper into it we go, versus any of that I can circuit break, any of that I can interrupt to say, I'm going to lean away from that, not toward that, and see what's possible, including things like traffic should flow. And then what happens when we're believing traffic should flow and it doesn't? We'll call this part true confessions of the spiritual types. Versus, hey, where did I get that traffic is going to flow? Like, what's the reality of it? It flows and then it gets stuck. It flows at times and it doesn't flow at times. That's reality based. And I'm living in some imagined fantasy world that's absolutely mythical, absolutely made up, and then believing what I made up, believing what I interpreted, instead of living in reality that says then, traffic flows most of the time. Have you noticed? But then the time that it doesn't, what happens to us? We're just a hair away from an animal. Literally, biologically, psychologically. So then this is the part we're after. This is the part that says, okay, traffic isn't flowing. My patterned way of being with this is an angry, irritated, frustrated, apathetic. Why me? Why me after all I've done for God? And then here we go. Hi ho, off to hell we go. Versus saying, wait a minute. What was that crazy Creek woman said? Like, lean the other way. This growth mindedness that would say, you know, the majority of my life, traffic has flowed. The majority of the time it flows. So it's not flowing now. So what would a sane, sensible person do here? How else can I be with stuck traffic? Well, I've been saying I wanted time to meditate. Here's one. A time to call people on the phone, to send energy or prayers to whoever's might be in an accident, to send energies, chi energy, Reiki energy, whatever you would call that, to the world, through my own heart to the world. There's so much that can be done that's new. Bring it on new, bring on the new ways, if we can snap out of this old way, this old painful in somewhat concreted way. So it's like use a crowbar and get in there to say, in every situation today, every single situation today, I'm going to be new in it on purpose with intent. So then when they don't put the right milk in my coffee, old way, archaic way. Okay, what would a sane, sensible person do here? I asked for the other milk. Would you replace this? I asked for the other milk. Could I have a new coffee? Doable? Doable? But then see if we don't catch this. We'll get our coffee, then we head off down the streets of Chautauqua. Somebody will say, hey, how's your day? Well, don't go to that coffee shop. They can't even get a coffee right. So who's bringing that? What am I putting out into the world? What am I putting out into possibility field? What am I putting out into potential? And then we'll meet the next person. Hey, how's it going at Chautauqua? Well, fine, if you could get a good cup of coffee. So we're still stuck in that. We're still stuck in that. In beauty, in magnificence, in life, in the unfolding of life. And we're still stuck in, I didn't get what I wanted, which is the fixed mindedness of a 3-year-old that didn't get what it wanted. And then the natural tantrum that pours forth from that, if we don't grow up enough and keep our minds open enough to say, there's another way to be with this. Sure, it was disappointing. Sure, it's frustrating. And there's another way for me to be with this. And I'm about creating a new world order. And you are too, or you wouldn't be here. So it's either this notion of the sins of the father, 7 generations of what's been handed down to us, and we're either going to be the 8th generation of that, handing down that same old thing, that same old archaic, animalistic, stuck in the low part of our brain, or we're going to hand down something else that says, we're going to be the next generation. We're going to be the first generation, not the 8th generation of that old way, but the first generation of a new way that says the very children being born this afternoon are not going to be stuck with that old mindset. And that we're going to be causative agents for that, creators of that, co-creators of that, and to use our growth mindedness intentionally, causatively, purposefully to say, there's a new possibility, there's a new way, and I'm onto it, and you're onto it, and together we can do what I cannot do alone. Together we can do what neither one of you can do alone. And then I absolutely believe in certainty, 100 years from now, somebody will be looking back on this time and saying there was this small group of kind of weird people that made a difference. And Margaret Mead said it. All the change that's ever been brought about was done by a small group of committed people that said, I'm recommitting today to catch this tendency to go into the I know mind and I know how it ought to be and I better get my way or else. And the addiction of that, the allure of that, or I'm going to stay awake to what else is possible? How else can I see this? How else can I be with this? What would the new me, how would the new me, the born again me, respond here? And that I have the potential to respond, not react. To stay conscious, not subconscious driven patterns, not unconscious driven reactivity, but to say there's a possibility then here that a whole new creation is put forth through the power of this, if you believe in quantum theory. that then there's no change that I make that doesn't affect the field. There's no action today, no response I bring forth today that doesn't affect the field. So how am I affecting the field? What's my part? So this assumes this fixed mindedness, people that, and you know these people, one of you told me this morning, yeah, I know people like that. He's now my ex-husband. Like, exactly. They assume that our intelligence, our character, and our creative abilities are static, like they're given, instead of like, this is the way of it. Instead of then what's inherent in us, inherent intelligence, of course, innate intelligence, of course, that has an infinite potential to say that I'm here to discover. I don't know what it is. I don't know what I can and can't do. I don't know what I'll be really good at, but I'm here like onto that, like to test that out, to see what that may be like. This growth mindset also, which is what the Talk Wednesday gets a little more into, thrives. We're more open to challenges. And I remember a coach telling me this years ago, and I'm like, no, thank you. I have enough challenge. She's like, it's not true. You're built for challenge. So it's like, think about a soccer game, and they give you a soccer ball and no opponents, and just tell you, run down there and kick the ball in the net. Go. How many times would you want to do that? So it's like, then with those opponents, we've got to strategize. We've got to think. We've got to have a plan. We got to see what we can do. We got to see what this kick would do, what this could do. So like this challenge is what innovates us to do this, including, folks, worry. Worry generally takes a bad rap, not when used on purpose. Worry is what activates the part of our brain to innovate something. What else would work here? How could I figure this out? How am I going to do this? How am I going to get around this? How do other people get around this? What do other people do in situations like this? So that worry can be an impetus for us to create, for us to cause, for us to even open our already open mind. So try to get worry out of the bed bucket. Bring a little light into, okay, I'm going to use worry on purpose. I'm not going to use worry to go deeper and deeper and deeper into it, but I'm going to use worry to spur something in me that says, I'm going to like activate some high thinking here. I'm going to ask folks. I'm going to throw up my hand. I'm going to ask people who's been through it before. How'd you do that? How'd your families do that? How? No telling what possibility field is out there. So out of these two mindsets, which we manifest from an early age. So even if those folks with more fixed mindedness are not stuck with that, if we're willing to work at it some, to say, I'm not going to get deeper and deeper into that fixed mindset, and I'm certainly not going to hand it down to the next 6, 7 generations if I can. And that then to come out of that, to say, okay, here's the difference of this. When a challenge comes up on me, my response is going to be, woe is me. Can you believe it? Or what can I do about this? I'm not masochistic. I'm not sadistic here, but I'm going to learn through this challenge. I'm going to take this challenge and learn all I can about it, and I'm going to navigate it with people, with friends, with nurturing, with intent. So I'm going to use the challenge. I'm not going to let the challenge take over. So then, will there be obstacles in our path? Anybody's life free of obstacles? Pop quizzes, like, oh, I'm getting pretty spiritual. I may be enlightened by the time I leave Chautauqua. It's like, well, you'll get all these quizzes this week. Pop quizzes just to see. Ram Dass, if you study with him, any of you, he used to say, oh, the minute you think you're getting enlightened, just spend a weekend with your family. that'll finish that off. And I say, oh, you don't have to spend a weekend with them, just call them. So, how we're with criticism. And no sane person likes criticism. And are we going to have some? You bet. So our power, our potential, mine and yours, resides in how I'm going to be with that. So will criticism come, like stuck traffic will come? You bet, it's going to come some. However, if I'm willing to learn from that, then I see in this one thing changed all of me, because I couldn't do what I do. I couldn't speak every week, 4 or 5 times a week in some cases, and be afraid of criticism. I couldn't do it. So then to see criticism as feedback, criticism is something to learn from, which doesn't mean I've got to take all their suggestions, which could be dye your hair and wear makeup. It's like, thank you. It left me. So, but to expect that somebody that believes that is the magic pill is going to be offering that to me. So then I don't have to miss the endearment of that. They're actually worried about me. Who in the world do you think is going to book you if you don't wear some makeup and dye your hair? It's like, to be determined. I don't know. It's just not my thing to do. And I did it for years. And we're on a free life. We're on a free life. So we're free to wear it or free not to. We're free to do any of this and to be liberated in that, but with less requirement of that. And certainly then less defense about it. So then I don't have to ask people to come into my thinking about that. And I don't have to go into their thinking about that. So little examples. So the consequences of not adopting this view are pretty radical. Pain, suffering, more misery. And the consequences of adopting this view are breakthrough. To say, I absolutely am going to give this a fair test. I'm going to go out of here today. I'm going to go out of here listening to this talk and say, I'm going to apply this today in some situations to see how am I different when I do that. So this is not just a theory. So it's going to determine whether we become the person we're here to be or not. This is going to determine whether we live into our potential or not. This understanding and application and practice of how much I lean toward growth-mindedness versus fixed-mindedness. And it's going to make all the difference in what life I have, what life I get to experience, what I accomplish, what you accomplish, and what keeps us in integrity with ourselves. To know that we have an innate, inherent, infinite potential, and to not go toward it, not to cultivate that, is an abandonment of our own soul. To stay stuck in those old ways and not to lean into the other way. So take a big deep breath. And imagine you now active in this growth-mindedness with a new dose of courage, resiliency, even inspiration for it, a new passion for it. And we'll hear our song that'll lead us then into a time of meditation, which is a time to really integrate this, to rewire, so to speak.
As I say tender yes to everything that comes to me. My heart is open, I am free. I open to all that is. It brings me to my knees. I surrender. I am peace. Try that with me as I say a tender yes to everything that comes to me. My heart is open. I am free. As I say a tender yes to everything that comes to me, my heart is open. My heart is open. I am free. I am free. I'm open to all that is. I'm open to all that is. It brings me to my knees. It brings me to my knees. I surrender. I surrender. I am peace. I am peace. I'm going to sing it just one more time as we go into meditation. Close your eyes and just breathe these words in. As I say a tender yes to everything that comes to me, my heart is open. I am free. I open to all that is. It brings me to my knees. I surrender. I am peace.
Give thanks today for inspiration, for new perspective. Give thanks today for being born again right here, right now, through message, through music, through an awakening of our own soul, reconnection and alignment and atonement. Get a sense of this in your body. Imagine a symbol or a color. The light of the world. You are the light of the world. And imagine being open all the way from the bottoms of the feet, all the way up. Aligned, atone, activated in this reality. Take a deep breath in and exhale out through the crown of your head. Deep breath in and exhale out through the crown. Open at the top. Open at the top. Curious. Willing. Faithful. Imaginative. With understanding. Power. Peace. Love. Letting go. Renunciation. A new strength. Zeal. Will. I love. I learn. I decide. I do. We can we do, we will. We begin again today. So be it. Amen.
My knees, my heart is open. I am free.
Thank you, Martha. So many things came up. It's going to take me a while to process all that you say. So thank you for opening my heart and reminding me. So now it's our time for our offering, and we have an offering basket on your way out if you do that. And I just want to thank all the people that have sent in their offerings as well. We just have such a generous congregation. And let's hold our gifts in our hearts. And I'd like to always think, where does my gift come from? And so that's when often when I'm giving a gift, I put my hand on my heart because I want to imbue the gifts of spirit with my heart energy, that it goes to support not only bringing Martha in and so many wonderful people this summer, but that it goes to bless Chautauqua too, that we tithe to this church and to Chautauqua and the unity. So know that your gift has that heart in it too. So we say our unity offertory blessing. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. And I am grateful.
I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed.
I just love knowing that we're going to finish with our unity prayer protection and thinking of all the thousands of people, including that unity prayer protection sits on the moon when Buzz Aldrin took it up. So it's been with us since the 1940s and influenced so many people's lives. So if you would join me in that. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. And so I want to leave you with a line. This was from the minister. I come to the first service because I just love the ministers, the Methodist ministers here. And John said these words, "Go forth and live God's love extravagantly." So that's what I leave you with. God bless every one of you.